Hello and welcome to my channel. This week I'm going to make a video about basically how good sports was this week. So first off, we're kicking it off Monday with the start of Worlds, the League of Legends eSport competition. I've enjoyed esports for a while now, and Worlds is the pinnacle and always the most enjoyable part of the year for me. Worlds was carried on all the way till Thursday, and I'm hoping to make another video about the play-ins separate within the next couple of days. Tuesday is another big day for me as it means Champions League time. First off, I was really impressed with Man City going away to Hoffenheim and winning, especially after their loss to Lyon in the first round of fixtures. The best thing about Tuesday was, to be honest, seeing Madrid lose to CSKA Moscow. It's a really big upset and something that should be celebrated when a big team loses to a little team. But I also found the Bayern vs Ajax game fascinating. I was literally flicking between the two games. This was again another big upset. Because of results like this, it really makes me want to watch the next round and see what happens. And lastly, we have that Manchester United game. A goalless game, and on the face of it not that interesting, but when you take into the account the current state that Manchester United's in, the fact that they got booed off again, it was all very telling and revealing at the time. But don't worry United, I will be getting on to your Saturday performance obviously and what that means for your club. Carrying on with this Champions League theme, Wednesday was another day of Champions League football. First of all, we have the fantastic game between Tottenham vs Barcelona. Personally, I do not have a team in the Champions League, so what I do is just support all the English teams. I loved last season when we had Man City vs Liverpool in the semi-final, because it meant that either way I was going to have a team to support in the final. Yes, so going back to the Tottenham-Barcelona game, usually I'd be disappointed in the English side losing, but honestly I was just blown away by Barcelona yet again. They always seem to pull it out of a bag, and for what you can say about La Liga and the strength of the league itself, when you see Real Madrid, Barcelona and Atletico play the way they can do, it is breathtaking. Second game of that night was Napoli vs Liverpool. Napoli got the win 1-0, and to a lot of English fans I think that was surprising, but this is mainly because Napoli tends to kind of underperform in the Champions League. Even take last season for example, again you had Juventus doing their thing, and you had Roma really performing well in the Champions League, but then Napoli wasn't to be seen. But then you looked at them domestically in Serie A, they pushed Juve nearly all the way and they only lost 3 games that whole season. But then if you look at them in the Champions League, they came third with Man City top in the group and Shakhtar Donetsk coming second. So therefore it's understandable why they're probably underrated. Now we go to Thursday, and Thursday was Super League day for me. We had St Helens, they were first seed in the semi-final against 4th seed Warrington Wolves. St Helens have by far been the best team this season, so it was quite shocking when they lost, but in truthfulness they got their game plan completely wrong. Warrington came up then with a big heavy pack and bulldozed them. St Helens wasn't able to play that quick expansive rugby that they liked, and this was much to do with Warrington's defence, and enough can't be said about how good they were on that semi-final. Saints will be disappointed that they got knocked out in the semi-final, because they also got knocked out in the semi-final stage in the Challenge Cup. This brings us beautifully on to Friday's game, which was Wigan vs Castleford in the second semi-final. Wigan played beautifully well, their defence was incredible, they didn't even give away a single point. Not only that, their attack was on form and they looked a lot better than they had all season. They've had quite a ropey season, especially by Wigan standard, and it was kind of nice to see them get back to the way that I know they can play. I also really want to commend Castleford, not on this result but on the way they're turning their club around For many years in the noughties, they were an up and down yo-yo team, and although there's some issues off the pitch, they're doing really well to build a credible side that's a free-flowing, a really great watch, and building that support up again. And I think every club that isn't the big boys like Leeds, Warrington, Wigan should be looking at them and seeing what they're doing right at this moment. But there you have it. Next Sunday it will be Wigan vs Warrington in the grand final, and after watching Thursday's and Friday's game, I can only imagine how incredible it will be. Those semi-final games were off the charts in brutality, nutrition and skill. It was a real showcase of what rugby league can be about, and it was awesome. Saturday, here we had Worlds, we had Manchester United and the ongoing drama, and finally we have UFC. To be honest, I'm going to make a video about the rest of the Worlds and the knockout stage of the play-ins, and I'm also going to make a separate video about the UFC too. So this, I'm only really going to pick on Manchester United, but I want to make other people aware that there will be upcoming videos if you are interested in both these topics. So, Manchester United and the drama. So, of course, if you've watched my other videos on the weekly football, you'll know that I've actually been quite a defender of Mourinho. Not that I particularly like him and the antics, and especially the press room antics. I think they're quite tedious now. But I also feel like that backroom staff and the players are kind of letting him down at the same time. But here we had it. Manchester United were 2 goals down against Newcastle at home, and to be honest, again they got booed, rightly so, and I really thought that Newcastle would, well, have them here, and it, in some ways, it blew my mind that Manchester United got back into the game, because it shouldn't happen. Really surprised Rafa didn't tighten Newcastle up and let them get back into it. But the other thing here was, it was kind of about desire for Manchester United. It was kind of about, are these players still with Mourinho? There was a report that came out early Saturday saying that Mourinho was going to get the sack no matter what happened. But then when you go from 2 behind at home and then manage to win the game in the end, you cannot act and fire a guy like that. It's a really delicate situation, and I will keep on watching Manchester United mainly to see what's happening. The club's in a big disarray at the moment, and it's quite unflattering to see. You really thought with Mourinho at the helm they would sort out what's going on since Alex Ferguson left, and currently it's still being run like a sham. But now on to Sunday, where the big boys played Man City vs Liverpool, first versus second, and what people will believe first versus second in the title race. Now, although on paper it was a 0-0 game, I thought the game was really close the whole time, and it was really interesting to see. I thought Liverpool played really well. I thought Van Dijk and actually Lovren himself played really well, and that's quite surprising defensively. Again, Aguero was quite quiet, and it's kind of a shame to see in the second half Salah broke through. It was like Liverpool's last season. He probably would have been able to chip it over Ederson, because Ederson was way offline and it totally caught Man City off guard. But unfortunately he really hasn't got the ball running. I still think give him time, he'll find his form, and I believe he will get it back. But it was a really interesting 0-0, which doesn't happen a lot. I thought it was nip and tuck. I thought the commentary was a bit biased in that way. I thought they didn't really respect the fact that Liverpool were playing a more defensive game. Overall, it was kind of nice to see these two kind of get the draw and it be balanced and even, and in some ways that represents how close this title race really can be, which is, I think, really thrilling for the end of the season. Not to contradict what I just said though, I do believe Liverpool's attack is looking a little bit leggy, especially with Salah not scoring. You rely on either the front three to score, but when one of those isn't, it's kind of surprising. I kind of wonder if Klopp will bring in Sturridge and play him on the right side of the forward three, or maybe even go to like the Sir Alex Ferguson 2007 4-4-2 where the wingers are pressed up high, so you still have Mane and Salah up there, but what you'd also have is Firmino and Sturridge up front, with Firmino probably dropping off a little bit. Either way, I really want to celebrate this great week of sport, especially from my perspective, and now I want to get what you think. What did you watch? What did you enjoy? Give me perspective on what you're going to watch next week maybe. I know the format of this video is quite weird. I mean, it's very sporadic with the multiple sports aspect, but to be honest, I really enjoyed talking about the different sports that I found interesting through the week. Obviously I'll hopefully improve on this method, but yeah, tell me what you thought about the video itself as well. That'd be awesome. Thanks for watching, and maybe I'll do this in a couple weeks time when there's another great week.